outside connected drama. And when I say outside connected drama, family members, it could be people that don't live in your house, but they are your family. You love them. It could be a parent. It could be an uncle. It could be a sister, a sibling, whatever the case may be. How do you handle that friction or that, you know, that quarrel without it intruding or infecting your home? I know it's hard to because you love your family.
Right.
But then going even a little bit deeper, how do you just automatically choose your spouse's side, or do you choose the side of right?
Wait, what?
Do you automatically choose your spouse side or
Ooh,
just
tough.
choose the side of right?
Right.
So that's, oh man, I done been there so many
That's
times.
so loaded.
Oh my gosh, that is heavy. Because I think I've developed the art of doing this publicly. I choose her side.
Got you. Right.
I used to. I didn't used to do that.
Right.
So I used to publicly be like, "No, you wrong for that." And now we're fighting. When she was just fighting with someone else.
Right.
Yeah.
Because
But
like
now
have my
it's
back.
there you go.
Yeah.
Now I'm like, I'm gonna choose her side.
Yeah.
But when we get in the car,
We can discuss.
we're gonna have to figure
I
out,
agree.
you know, how to deal with this situation. So
Yeah.
I think you most definitely got to stand on business when it comes to your spouse. But you also got to be their better half by telling them where they went wrong after the fact,
Right.
or de-escalate the quarrel to where it's where everybody can come together and talk.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the first option.
Yeah.
First option is before we choose any sides, let's all just sit down and hear each other's points.
Yeah.
Right. But I think the part of hearing let's all sit down, hear each other's points. Are you referring to like the family members that you're in quarrel with? Or are you talking about your spouse? Because it's really tough
Right.
to sit down and have a conversation
Yeah.
a lot of times with a family member that's just not able to.
Can I throw a word?
I'm trying to
don't have
say,
the capacity.
trying to be politically correct
Right.
in this, but to have like I think that the what do you call it? The feeling that if I speak personally, the feeling that I would have to want to sit down is always there. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, man, if we
I
don't,
agree.
let's try to
So
get
you don't
this
like?
resolved.
Do you carry that stuff though?
I used to.
Okay.
I used to learned it hard way. You know what I mean? Just why I was speaking of just earlier
Right.
of just like I'm just now getting to that place of just
Gotcha.
like, hey, you know what? This actually affects my peace,
Yeah.
and cutting you off. You know what I mean?
Right.
Shoot, and helps.
But I think we really do want to resolve.
Right.
Yeah.
But it has to be both parties, you know what I mean, that are like, all right, let's come in and figure this out. It can't just be one-sided, you know what I mean, the other person is just out to lunch. You know what I'm saying? On the situation.
If you out to lunch, I ain't coming to lunch with you.
I am
Right.
not
You've
showing
already
up
had
to
lunch.
lunch.
Yeah.
You know,
We're
I'm
good.
hungry.
But my question is this. Okay, so this is the other side to that. That's why I think we always talk about balance on this show. This is where balance comes in, because if my wife is on 10, I gotta be on 5.
Right. At least
I have to be at least on 5.
shoot 8.
If I can't match her energy when she's like that. She can't match my energy when I'm like that. So I think in some situations it's different.
Yeah.
If you catch stuff in the beginning stages before it becomes what you just described.
Triggering.
Right. Where it
Right.
becomes like, I got to cut you off, where it gets to that point where you just like, you know what? Psh, enough is enough.
Yeah.
It's like if you catch stuff at an early enough stage and you have where the person that's on 10 is on 10, but you got a balance of 5, that we can sit down and talk. Because now there's some balance there.
Yeah.
But if we're both here, like we're fed up with this, me and her,
Yeah.
we're not about to risk our.
It's going to be an unproductive conversation.
There it is. Let's just cut it off. You just got to be there.
And
So,
with me, it might just be unproductive. Period. I don't even have to be on 10. Once I'm irritated,
Yeah, it's hard.
it's hard for me to come back.
Yeah.
It's hard for me not to remember. It's hard. I'm not gonna lie.
It is
I
hard.
don't have to be at 10 for it to be over with,
Well,
or put a period on that
sometimes
relationship.
for 10 with her is not everybody else's 10.
Right.
Right.
Mhm.
So, you know,
I agree.
yeah, her 10 is different.
So her 10 could be somebody else's 3?
Yep.
Absolutely.
Okay.
She's most definitely your 3.
It could be somebody
She's
else's
most
3.
definitely your 3.
I don't know, man. Constance.
When she's there, she's there.
It just
Constance-
depends.
I think
Constance
these
It is
was like,
circumstantial.
It takes a lot to get her there.
I've
It
never,
does.
in
And
all the years that I've known her,
y'all have never seen
I've
it.
never seen that.
I have, and
I would love
Constance is so pure that if it gets there, what you're seeing is, I love you so much, I can't believe we're beefing. But it's like on 10 with aggression, and I'm ready to slap you because I love you.
Oh, man.
And I'm like,
taps.
babe, yours is kind of weird.
She's a lover.
She is.
Definitely a lover.
She is, you know.
She will get to the bottom
gonna
of the
hug
situation.
you know.
After she slaps you.
She
Right.
love you,
After
and
the
she
slap
go,
comes
but
a
she
hug.
will get to the bottom. So
Yeah.
let's figure this out.
But I think it's just naturally like,
like
that.
it.
Not just with her, but just like with people that you love. Like I know with me and my mom get into it not as often as we used to, but when we do, my thing is when you are comfortable with your peace, it's easy to cut somebody off.
It is.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Because you want to do anything to protect you.
Yeah.
But I can't cut my mom off.
Cannot cut
So you are
Or
naturally
can
trying to
you?
like, Ma, let's get it. She's like, you're not listening to me. And I'm like, you're not listening to me. So sometimes it just takes taking a step back, giving it some time, and then come back. You want to go get something to eat?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And the thing is, sometimes that break that you need to take when
Yeah.
you step back
Mhm.
is an extended stay.
Yeah.
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 You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Sometimes it calls for
Yeah.
A little
a
minute.
little bit of separation to
Yeah.
come to a place where you have resolve in yourself
Yeah.
to be able to make a decision
That's
on
true.
how
Yeah.
you want to move forward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true.
Man, my
That's true.
therapist said, she told me one time, I was talking to her about a situation that I was having parentally. And she said something that stuck with me. But when she said it, it was probably months and months before I actually got it. You know what I
Got
mean?
you.
She said, what happens? She said, what would you do or how would you feel if the person never changed, never apologized, never took accountability, didn't have the capacity to? How would you feel about that person? And when I heard it the first time when she said it, I instantly was just like, I ain't gonna be able to do it. Just can't do it. Don't want to do it. Don't care. Ain't doing it. You know what I mean? Like months and months and months go by, you know what I mean? And I kept hearing that like ringing in my ears because I started to see like the actual like result of that. Like never gonna apologize, never gonna be accountable. You know what I mean? Like, so I started thinking those things and I was like, dang, I probably shouldn't stay in that place of like just legit unforgiveness. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because like, what if the person really doesn't have the capacity to even see your point of view
right.
at all?
Right.
You know what I
Well,
mean?
I'm going to build on something. Or they're not even here to apologize, right? They're not even
Right.
alive.
Yeah.
Right.
Take that with you.
Take that, because I
Yeah.
have some unresolved. I have a lot of unresolved issues with
Yeah.
somebody
That's
not
tough.
even alive.
Right.
Wow.
Same.
Yeah,
So do I.
Not even
Wow.
alive
Same.
to apologize.
Same.
Not even alive to take accountability.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what do you?
Does
How do you
make
manage that?
That's what I was gonna say. Does that make you like? Does that make you angry, or do you just feel frustrated? Do you feel sad because you like want to have the like? How do you do that?
Because at this point, there's no room for them to mature and get to a place.
Right.
Yeah.
So it would be up to, I mean, you're left.
Right.
So it's like, y'all don't have an issue. Now the issue is just yours.
It's just my
Just
issue.
mine.
Wow.
Yep.
It's just my issue. And I'm gonna tell you now. I thought because I moved through life numbing stuff, like stuff that affects others don't affect me in that way.
Gotcha.
Right? Like I don't have that whatever that is. Right?
Yeah.
I don't have it. Like I'm not gonna lie. Like so because things don't affect me in the way that it would affect somebody else, a regular person that has dealt with their issues. Right? With me, I find myself acting out in ways that are not like that's uncharacteristic
Got you.
for me, right?
Got you.
Because I just numb stuff. So then something little can be very big
Bubbles up.
for me.
Got
Right.
you.
Like somebody else would be like, I didn't see what are you mad about?
Yeah.
It with me because I live in my head. You know, a lot of stuff I'm thinking in my head.
Got you.
And then it bubbles out in other ways.
Yeah.
So I'm really not numbing it
Yeah.
because
Yep.
it still comes out,
still comes
whether
out.
it comes out in an anxiety attack because I have really bad anxiety attacks. Well, I haven't had one in a long time, but I used to, or it just comes out in something little can blow me up, and it has nothing to do with that situation.
Yep.
It could literally be something in my head.
Wow.
And I know that I don't want to sound off
No,
or
you
crazy,
don't.
That's
but
very normal.
I want
Very
to.
clear.
I'm trying to put
Extremely
words to
Yeah.
clear.
To how you feel.
how I feel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So because I feel that way, and I'm acting out, I started doing work. I started like really just holding myself accountable.
Yeah.
Because I wouldn't hold myself accountable for me acting out either.
Yeah.
I would be like, well, that's just who I am.
That's it.
Oh well,
No
know,
accountability.
no accountability. Like, hey, you can't deal with it. I understand. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I would do that, and then I kept everybody. Nobody gets close, right? Nobody get close enough to hurt my feelings.
Got you.
Yeah.
It was
So-
a defense mechanism.
It was my defense mechanism. Yeah, nobody gets close, and I just didn't let anybody in. And it's still hard for me to let people in now
Yeah.
because when I love you, I love hard.
Yeah.
So it's not if I allow myself to love you and you hurt me, you don't get that. You don't get another chance to hurt me. You get what I'm saying? Like, so because I love so hard and I ride so hard, and when I say I ride. I'm gonna jump off the cliff with you.
Yeah.
We doing this. Let's jump. That's my that's just my character
That's who you
trait.
are, yeah.
Yeah. So I really have to learn how to resolve situations because I don't know how to resolve it because I really don't know what to say. What to say if I'm not really sorry? You know what I mean? Like, I'm not sorry. I said what I said. How can we move on? Because I
Right.
said hurtful things. You said hurtful things. I ain't really sorry for what I said.
And I meant what I said.
I meant what I said. How do you move on from that? Like, I know how to apologize to Jason because we've actually been through some stuff together. But
Right.
somebody I ain't been through nothing. You know, this is our
Yeah.
first quarrel.
Yeah.
And we ain't really, I don't
Right.
really affect your life.
Yeah.
You don't really affect my life. We just kind of like each other as friends
Or family.
or family.
Because you got family that is
Yeah.
not.
That don't
Our
really
family.
affect your
Yeah,
life.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
our
Your life.
family
Yeah.
that really don't affect my life.
I got you.
Where do we resolve? How do you resolve it? That's the question. How do
Yeah.
you? That's my question because I wouldn't know how to
Well, I mean,
resolve it because I'm kind of
I'm
like,
tell you, for me, what I'm learning and on my journey is I don't want to leave any situation where I don't know how you feel about me, and you don't know how I feel about you.
Right.
And as simple as even your day-to-day relationships. You get what I'm saying? Like I don't want to be in your face if I don't like you. I don't want to be fake with you.
Yeah.
So a resolve doesn't always have to come off as friendship.
Right.
Sometimes a resolve can come off as it's a chapter close.
Agree to
Agree to
disagree.
disagree.
Yeah.
You go left, I go right.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
That's what resolve is sometimes.
Yeah,
Right.
that's true.
So we have to own, you know what? Me and you can no longer be friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, why? We just two different people.
well, what if it's family?
me and you can no longer be family. No, I'm just playing. Well, sometimes you feel like that, right?
You feel
But I
like it,
think
but
you
it's like you can't really undo family.
Right.
But here's the
But
thing.
to that point, I think you can establish the role family plays in your life. So
Yeah.
we're connected by blood. We can be connected by blood forever, but the role that you play in my life, I get to decide that. You know what I'm saying? You can't decide who your parents are.
That's right.
That's given to you.
Or siblings.
Or siblings.
That's right.
That's given to you. The other titles that, not that they're unimportant,
Right.
you know what I'm saying, but I can decide the role that you play in my life. You know what I'm saying? And if our connection or if our relationship becomes something that is not healthy or beneficial, then I can digress. I can digress with my parents.
Absolutely.
I can digress.
I was gonna say,
We have.
even if it's
I-
beyond extended,
Listen,
or
I
your
definitely
parents.
am walking through that.
Right.
You
Yeah.
have to adjust those relationships, and again, you'll forever be my parent. You'll forever be my
Never
sibling,
change.
Right.
and I'll love you for that. But how we
Yeah,
connect,
how we
or
do life,
relate,
how we
yes.
do life together.
We can that can stand
Because
to take
it's a
some
lot of
adjustments.
variables involved. You got kids, grandkids.
Yeah, it's just
You know,
life
it just make the
choices. Yeah.
water all muddy.
It's murky. Yeah.
It really does. It's just it's a tough journey. Like for real, trying to create the boundaries,
Yeah.
trying to establish respect
While
you know what I'm
building
saying?
your own family.
Right, building your own family, and then trying to make sure the kids stay intact. You know what I
Right.
mean? But then the kids ain't dumb.
Right.
You know, so they know when
Facts.
something is off.
Facts.
Something is fun.
And they'll talk about it to themselves before they talk
Or
about
each
it to
other.
you.
They done had a whole
Right.
Yeah.
Either that,
Or each
or
other.
you
Yeah.
know, like I've had my kids. If I'm dealing with something and they know,
Right.
and a phone call come through my phone, they'll be like, "Mom, it's your," and then they'll look.
What are you going to do about it?
I see my reaction. I'm like,
Right.
dang, how did they know?
And they all eyes too, like,
They're not, they, like you say.
right.
Like, are you going to answer it?
Right. How are you gonna do that?
What are you going to say?
I'll get it.
Right.
Now you
So
panic. Hey, don't touch that
So
phone.
it's times where I will take the call, you know what I'm saying, just for the sake of like, I'm gonna try to prove you wrong.
Right. I have to model this for my
Right.
child.
Let me prove you
But
wrong
then the
while you think
conversation
something
is
happened.
awkward. Hello.
Yeah. Hey,
Hello.
chilling.
What's up?
I
Now
know
they
nothing.
really know.
And I think that there's a
All right,
part
bye.
where you just got to accept who people are
Yeah. Man.
and adjust accordingly without taking things so personal. Sometimes it's not a personal thing. It's just like,
who they
what's the
are.
matter? I've been like this all my life. What's the problem? You know what I mean? But to what Amy was saying earlier, she asked the question, how do you deal with it? How do you
resolve it?
How do you
resolve
resolve that?
it?
For me, I was like you. I would just cut you off. Just out of sight, out of mind. I ain't got to think about you. I could care less about what's going on with you. And it's super cold. It's super.
Yeah.
I'm whatever. But what I found out early was that I was just sweeping it up under the rug. But it's still in my house
Right.
and it stinks and it ends up coming out passively aggressively to Constance, to my kids, to people who had nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
And I had to count the cost, I guess, is the best way to articulate it.
There's a cost.
It's a cost. It started costing me relationship with my kids. It started costing me a relationship with my wife. It started costing me sleep at night.
Yeah.
It started costing me I wasn't able to focus like I needed to focus because, like Amy, I love hard.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And when you love hard, you take things different because it's like, I didn't do nothing to deserve what you
What you
did to me.
To me.
Right.
Yep.
But then you got some issues where you're dealing with, narcissistic people
Yeah.
who
There's the
feel like,
There
Huh?
it is.
There's the word.
what's the word?
Oh, that was the word. Did you
Narcissistic.
I didn't want to throw that word out. I just
Yeah, well,
throw the word.
when you're dealing with narcissistic people, they don't see what they do wrong.
Right.
They accuse you of doing what they did so that they can now have something on you.
Always.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's a
So,
which levels
it's
to
a
narcissism?
It's like a
Constant
boomerang
revolving
type of. It's like a boomerang type of
or a
situation.
hamster wheel.
Yeah. So
But also just to roll back to your point though, but you also got to realize that you say I didn't do anything to you to deserve that, but in that person's mind,
you did everything.
might have.
You did everything.
you did.
Yeah.
And that's why it's like a sit down conversation, being open to being able to sit down as mature people. I'm not going to say adults because kids can do this too.
Absolutely.
But if you can sit down as a person and say, you know what, you're angry at me for a reason. I'm angry at you for a reason.
Let's talk about it.
You tell me your reason, I'll tell you mine. Let's see if we can meet in the middle.
Right.
That only works on sane people.
Yeah.
Most definitely, I do agree.
That works on sane people.
Well, you
man.
got certain people that are not going to hear anything you say, regardless of
Period.
what you say. You do have those people in the world because in their mind, they're right
Yeah.
about everything.
narcissistic.
And that's very much narcissism. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I mean, when you're dealing with someone that you know is a narcissist or have those qualities,
Right.
then you have to make a decision in your mind
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
as to where that person stands with you.
So you just love them.
And that
I think
goes
we've
back
all
to
had
the therapist.
narcissists.
It ain't got to be up. Love doesn't have to be.
In your face.
We talk every day.
There you go.
We do this. Love can literally be when I wake up in the morning. I think about you. I pray for you. I'm concerned about you. I may send people to check on you or different things like that. But you know, if I have to weigh it out between the relationship and my peace,
I'm gonna choose my peace.
Into that.
I'm gonna have to choose my peace because if I don't have that, they
Everything else
suffer.
is affected.
In my house suffers.
and,
Does that make sense?
and
Yeah.
physically you suffer.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
Without the peace. The
Absolutely.
peace, like that aspect, you can't. I've learned just personally, you can't play with that. You know what I mean? Because it does show up in your physical body. You know what I mean? Like legit.
Yeah.
So where you got to
What
be
are you
like,
saying?
Headaches.
How does it show up?
it shows up in your physical because of how you've dealt with stress or how you deal with trauma or how you push things down.
Yeah.
Don't deal with it. Don't address it. It doesn't go away. It literally
shows up physically. I just had
Yes.
a golf ball size knot removed from the back of my neck. About a week ago. It's like you go for, you do your yearly checkups or whatever like that. But when you go, it's like, man, I got to start thinking about what I'm thinking about.
Yep.
I got to start moving different.
Yeah.
I got to start
Yep.
being mindful of what I allow in my space. And when I say allow, because you do allow family.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I'm not talking about anybody in particular. I'm talking about just generally. This is more so a topic for our audience and for us. But it's like one of those things where it's like when when it starts affecting you physically, it seems like it takes that where it's like, okay, now you got my attention.
Right.
What's going on here?
See, like that's literally what inspired me to become a mental health coach. Like because of what I went through and walked through, I was like, man, I'm like, if people could just know to just start doing, certain things, start checking, yourself, start thinking, like think about what you have going around you. What are the stressors in your life? Your family, your children, your work, your like those type of things, and really like just talking to somebody, just digressing your days, or like what happened today? Because a lot of times you do not assess your day.
Yeah.
You just keep it moving. And so many things could have happened to you from morning, from the time you waking up to the time you go to bed, and you just keep it moving. But the most traumatic things could have occurred.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
almost getting into an accident.
Right.
Freaking, I don't know, I got a call from a family member that your uncle got cancer. All kinds of stuff. And you just like, oh, man, it's messed up. And then, hello, welcome to, what I mean? Like,
Right.
so it's important for us to, at the end of our day, that we like, all right, that you take a moment alone, you know what I mean? And just be like, all right, what went on today?
Yeah.
All right. how do I feel about that?
Yeah.
How do I feel about almost getting into an accident? You know what I'm saying? You like, dang,
I call
that
it
was close.
unpacking your day.
Yeah, you got to. How do I feel about finding out my uncle got cancer?
Right.
How do you feel about that?
Right.
Do you need to cry it out? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, what? Do you need to
Because you
take
have
a
a tendency
moment?
to keep going.
You do.
You'll keep going.
Yeah,
And get
I've done
lost
that.
in the going.
Yeah.
But you know what? I think
I agree.
that's a generational thing again.
What you mean?
I think when they talk about the millennials and the, all the different, I think that's a generational thing. I think with our generation, we've been taught to keep pushing no matter what.
Yeah, you're
Survive.
right.
Where this newer generation is like, if I need to take a break,
I'm going to get
I'm
a
going to
therapist.
take a break.
Even if I'm in the Olympics.
right.
Time out.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Did
That girl said,
Yeah, gymnastics.
due to my mental health.
Was it Shikari?
No.
No, that was
No.
Simone
Simone
Biles.
No.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It don't matter.
But it's a good thing though, because
Yeah.
again, like I said, all my childhood trauma, all my stuff that I'm working through, it's showing up at the age I am now.
I think it got to be some balance
and
there,
it's
though.
stupid for it to be showing up because I've been like,
Because you kept pushing.
It's
Yeah.
so
You never
took a break.
stupid. It's so stupid.
yeah, it's so stupid
It's
for
so
it to be
dumb.
coming up. I'm like,
But
really?
it's not stupid. It's good
Well,
that it's coming up.
It's
You want it to come up.
it's hard. No, because then you realize maybe it wasn't them, it was you.
Right.
When you start
Thinking
taking
back to-
ownership,
yeah.
I'm talking for the people that are sane,
Wow.
right? That can assess themselves and say,
Wow.
you didn't handle that right.
Right.
You didn't do this right. You really handled that wrong. And then you start taking accountability for all the stuff you've done for years.
Yeah.
For years.
Yeah.
And then you have to, after you do all that, you gotta sit in that shit.
Yeah.
And that doesn't feel good.
At
And it
all.
doesn't feel
Come on.
good. And not only that, not only does it not feel good, then something can trigger it.
Yeah.
Still,
Still.
even
And it
even
happened
though
at,
you're
I was
doing
16.
the work.
I was 16 when my mama called me stupid.
Wow.
You get what I'm saying? Like I can remember the
Yeah.
date, the time. I can remember some of the stuff
What
that
you were, what you wore.
what I wore, how hurt I was.
Details.
Yeah. And then I can also hear crying is for the weak. So now when you're crying and you believe crying is for the weak, then how do you feel?
Good
So it's a
gracious.
whole bunch of stuff that you have to deal with because if you're human, we don't always get it right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the issue. When you don't get it right, you didn't handle it.
You just
It
said a
was
lot.
you. Then what? Because I mean, we can all say, yeah, that that family member over there, she wasn't right, he wasn't right. We could say that, right? But what if it's you? What if you have to take accountability and you have to come back and apologize and you have to start dealing with yourself and then you realize I really didn't like myself. So then you try to change who you are, but everybody know you as that person.
Wow.
And so no
So
matter
then there's
how,
there's a thing of now now there's an authenticity aspect that you think that you have to
Yes.
consider now at this point, that when you do start to alter and make a change of like just coming growing, evolving, coming stuff, it's like, dang, I mean, is this me or not?
right.
Is this the new me?
Yeah.
Do I
Is this-
like this?
Right. And then reinventing yourself, it's just hard. You start looking at your own self, you start looking at all your stuff.
Man.
It's just hard. It's just
you
hard.
just said a mouthful.
Yeah.
And I don't even think you understand how much of a mouthful you just said. It triggered something with me. Just going back to my father, Anthony Carolina, when, he got out of prison when I was 15. He got locked up 3 days before I was born. But by the time he got out, he had been replaced.
Yeah.
Like majorly. And mentally, before he got out, he was replaced.
Yeah.
Right.
Because I went from the 6-year-old conversation, collect call from Aunt, it's your dad. Talk to your father. Hello, your mom said you did this. Yeah. Don't do it. Okay. All right.
Jeez.
Then I'm 12. Hello. What are you going to do about it?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
That's the angry you.
Right. But then when he got out, he really tried to make a legit effort to be in my life. and I did him dirty. It's like I took all of the fights I got into that I lost because he wasn't there to teach me how to. Everything was his fault.
Yeah.
And you know, when he got out, I was, man, I'm better off than you are.
Yeah.
And I'm only 16, 17 years old.
Yeah.
What you gonna tell me? And then, my mom, she's always, despite, and this is something I give my mom all credit for, despite all the crap they went through together, she was always an advocate for me knowing him
Yeah.
And having a relationship.
and
with
having
him.
a real relationship with him. In New York, when we lived there, we would travel 4 hours to go to upstate New York to see him weekly.
Wow.
So I literally grew up from 1 year old to 6 years old. Every week I'm in a jail cell. So all those pictures you guys see of me and him that look like you're in the florist shop, those were background backdrops. So, it was like I was a kid that was processing stuff. So it was like I didn't know. It was
Right.
fun to me. Can we pop popcorn? Can we go to the vending machines? That was the highlight of our trip.
Right.
While, they were over there doing what,
What they do?
Whatever.
Holding hands and stuff.
Well, everybody was. I felt like I was in Sodom and Gomorrah or something like that. I was like, what the heck is going on around all these people with green pants and white shirts? Y'all go there screwing each other. But anyway, when he got out, my mom sent me up there, and his mother was like Satan's mother. She was a horrible, horrible, horrible person,
Man,
and she treated me.
this is your grandmother?
Yeah, this is his mother.
Yeah, you won't even address her as grandmother.
Right.
Yeah.
That's how horrible she is.
Horrible person.
Man.
Horrible person.
Listen, one thing I know about when using that word horrible,
That is a
Horrible.
I
wrong
understand the depth of that.
word. Yeah, that's
Horrible. So horrible. I had to call my aunt. My dad's cousin was there, Gigi. He was like, "You want to go call your people?" I was like, "Yeah."
I need to call
I
my
think
people.
my
ASAP.
dad had just got married and he was on his honeymoon and I was at his house. And it was so bad there. Gigi was like, "You want to go to the payphone? You know the number? Let's get you up out of
Hey,
here."
man,
Wow.
hold on.
You feel me?
You can't
So,
just hold on.
I called my Aunt Joan.
I just need an example of something.
Of the type of
why
stuff
was
she
she
was
so
doing.
horrible? Like, you can't just call her horrible and not tell us why.
So my dad's brother, what was his name? Sonny?
Sonny?
Not
No,
Sonny.
not Sonny.
Sam.
I knew it was an
Sam had AIDS, full-blown AIDS. And everything he would use, they would bleach and everything. I just didn't know that, right? So I'm in the kitchen trying to make me something to eat. I think I was making a bowl of cereal or something. And I grabbed a spoon from off the counter because, it was on top of a paper towel. So in my head, I'm thinking they put it there to dry.
Gotcha.
So I'm about to eat it, and she knew what was going on because, "What you in there doing in my kitchen?" "I'm about to make some cereal." "Oh, okay." So I'm in there. She saw me. She's watching. She can see everything that I'm doing from where she is. I pick up the spoon. I make the cereal, put everything in milk. I'm about to eat it. Ah! Like, what's up? "That's Sam's spoon. You don't want AIDS, do you?"
Golly.
I'm like,
What? That's some old school thinking now.
"You ain't know he had AIDS? If you ain't careful, you gonna get it."
Wow.
At a 6-year-old?
No. He got out when I was 15, so I had to be about 15.
Oh, wow.
Oh, so you're cognizant. You
Right.
understand.
Oh,
everything.
you
without a doubt. So in
understand,
my head,
yeah.
I'm like,
Okay.
you saw what I was doing.
Right.
I'm-
You sat
I'm-
there, you gonna let me get all the way to the edge.
It's pretty much in my mouth. Ah! So I'm looking at her like I don't want no cereal. Good.
I'm
"Oh, you gonna eat that cereal?" "No, I'm not."
I'm sorry, this is not funny.
Wow.
"You gonna eat this cereal?" At this point, I'm like, I don't do that whole, I'm like, if you get too crazy with me, I'm gonna get crazy back with you.
Because I know this guy.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm like,
He's unruly at this point.
I'm about to go there.
I know.
So I'm
this
like,
dude.
Gigi is like, yeah, man, because I'm articulating to him, man, she better go head home. She better go head home.
That's when he said, "Did you want to call your people?"
Right.
Yeah, you want to call your people? I said, yeah, let me call my
Yeah.
mom.
It's time to go.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I called my mom and, well, what do you want me to do? And she's like, all right, let me call Joan. Called on Joan. Maybe I was 14. I don't know. I was smart, and at this point, I was bad. A
Right.
bad child.
Yeah.
Okay.
Horrible.
I was just as horrible. I was
He
just
was
as
more- That's why I
horrible
said I know this dude.
as she was.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I need to get up out of here before this ends up being a bad situation. Aunt come back, his mom's all, yeah.
Oh.
So yeah, let me. My aunt came, picked me up. Somehow they got in touch with my pops. What's going on? What's going on? Yeah, I'm gonna go back to Atlanta.
Yeah.
I'm up out of here. My aunts get me a ticket. I'm gone. And I left. That was in my older
Yeah.
Yeah.
years. But she, my mom would tell me stories about how she was with her, and then how she was with my mom's mom, my grandmother. It's like she was just a horrible person, just for no reason. It just mean for no reason. Like that lady on TikTok, flip flop, be cussing all the time. The lady with the gray hair. You ain't seen it yet?
I haven't seen it yet.
Amy gonna see it. I'm gonna send it to
Yeah,
you.
send it to me.
But it's like it's like she had some type of issue or something. But anyway, why I start talking about her?
You were trying to piggyback off of what Amy
Oh,
said.
but anyway, I treated my dad so horrible.
Right.
Just bad, man. Just towards the end, diabetes had got the best of him. And right before it got the best of him, I took Trail, Junior, and Shane, and Constance up there to go see him.
Your sons.
Right. And, he had a chance to see him, man. We were talking. He was going to come down and see 1777, the house in Jonesboro. And, man, I was super excited, man, because I was so grateful that I had a dad that came in and was able to provide the things that I needed as far as manhood. But it's something about your being able to make a connection with your blood or with your biological parent.
Yeah.
And about 6 months?
Yeah.
About
Soon
6
after.
months after we took that trip up there, he was supposed to be coming down there for the summer and everything. He had recently gotten off parole, so it was going to be cool for him to travel. Man, he died. And I'm like, man, I literally gave him 6 months of what it was like to have it. So it took me years to get over that. Matter of fact, when I found out he died, I cried non-stop for like 2 weeks. Like it was like uncontrollable. Then I get down there to the funeral, and he had always told me, if something ever happens to me, this house, it wasn't a brownstone. It was like you got the top level, you got the middle level, you got the bottom level. All three are apartments. It's like
The multi-family home.
It was a multi-family home, 1927 Burke Avenue. And he said, this is in my will that this is yours. He said, and it's a lot of equity in the house and everything like that, So I remember that. I went down to the funeral, me and Constance in the limo with them, with the family and everything in there. And they're like, yeah, well, I'm about to travel.
You about to go on vacation?
We about to do this. We about to do that. We about to do this. Anthony, I got something I want you to have. I'm like, okay.
Okay. This is the transfer.
This is it. The big moment.
It's transfer.
It's about to set us up, babe.
Yeah.
She gave me this little ring
Oh man.
And $200.
and $200.
Wow.
A pinky ring and $200.
I said, well, golly.
So what happened to the house?
They went on vacation and did whatever.
My cousin,
It probably
Karen.
wasn't a will.
my cousin Karen said, "What God has for you, no man will be able to keep from you. Don't even stress it."
It's easy for you to say, I already had plans for that.
Right. Well, actually, I wasn't even thinking about it until we got down there, and you just start thinking about things. We went to the funeral, looking at him in that doggone casket.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, man, and you start thinking, okay, well, how old was he when he died?
Yeah.
Because then that's like, okay, well, that becomes your benchmark.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
You
Now,
feel what I'm saying?
now
Yeah.
that right there is so real.
It's a
Yeah.
real thing.
Because both of my parents died. My father died at 54. My mom died at 57.
Wow.
I'm like, how many summers I have left?
Wow.
She got a whole lot. Let me tell you why. Her mom and dad most definitely lived a different type of life.
We understand, but
it's
we
still-
understand that's a
See,
real.
now she got
tell
me
you
scared.
why.
Now I got a real right.
Oh, yeah,
See
you're
a
right.
bird.
Jay, you
And everybody else.
Now,
Hold on.
Let's
No.
watch our confessions.
No, I'm
Real
just
deal.
yeah, no,
That's a
but,
real. That's a
but
real.
it's
It
a
is.
real thing that
It
sits
is.
in
It
your
is.
head.
Yeah.
So like those, they're both passed away,
Mhm.
and they both,
Yeah.
they did what they could do.
Right.
Mhm.
And what I will say is, whatever my mother went through in her childhood most definitely affected her as an adult.
Facts.
Yes.
And what I don't want for me is to live life the same way.
The same way.
Yeah.
So
Right.
the same way with, maybe mad or unforgiveness
Yes.
or whatever my own issues are.
Yes.
I don't want my issues to affect me at this age, right?
Yes.
So, I will say, I'm going to look in this camera, to my children, I'm so sorry. Whatever I've done, however I did it, just know that, as I got older, I got better,
Right.
and I'm human.
Right.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry
Yeah.
for whatever you mad at, whatever childhood, whatever.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Like I'm going to apologize while I'm alive. So hopefully,
Yeah.
they can have peace.
Yeah.
Because it is so much foolishness at this age dealing
Yeah.
with this.
Yeah.
It's just because my grandmother, my father's mother, called me. We were living in College Park, them apartments in College Park. She called me and said, I would love to have a relationship with you,
Wow.
blah, blah, blah. She said some words, like those kind of words. I sat there. I didn't say nothing. I was like, all right. And I hung up the phone knowing I was never going to talk to her again.
Wow.
You know what's crazy? I never knew that.
I know I never told anybody that.
Wow.
Because,
Because you told
The
me,
next
you had
thing-
me thinking the lady didn't like you.
because that's what I was told as a child.
Which is probably why she responded that way.
Yeah, that's what I was told as
Wow.
a child. That
Ooh,
So let me tell you this.
And you got to question if that's even
Yeah.
true.
So
Because
my-
she made the call.
Wow.
Right, she made the call as I was an adult and I was
Or
married,
perhaps she
or came to terms.
she changed,
Uh-huh.
she evolved, and
Yeah.
said, "Okay, this is my grandbaby.
Right.
She doesn't have my son is gone.
Mhm.
This is my only connection to her. So let me." Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, she could have been that way too.
Wow.
Whatever the case may be, I lived on 40th in Boulevard. My sister lived on 46. This is my father's in Boulevard. We didn't meet.
Mm.
We never met. I met her when I was 17.
Wow.
Wow.
My father's sister lived 3 houses up the road.
Mhm.
3 houses up the road. I went to school with my cousins, elementary school.
Mm-hmm.
I had no idea.
I knew who they were.
You didn't know your sister.
They never
They
knew
didn't
who
know
I
who you
was.
Wow.
Wow.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They didn't know who I was. I knew who they were because my mother would be like, "Those your cousins."
Mhm.
Yep, that's Greg's sister. You know what I mean? But so just growing up thinking you weren't acknowledged, and then when you get grown and everybody have their hands out, you like,
Mm.
where were you at? Like, who
Yeah.
are you? Where are you
Yeah.
at? So I would say this. I would say that she reached out. I was living in the apartment. I was pregnant with Jaden. The next time I seen her was at her funeral. Remember, I went up there to the funeral.
Wow.
I went to her funeral. and that was it. And so it was those kind of things you handle wrong. So I handled that all the way wrong.
Mm.
I should have forgiven her or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
And I also, and it's a lot of people like that, not just her. It's a lot of people in my life.
Yeah.
Where
She got a list.
I got a list of people who I just quit talking to,
Yeah.
or I just quit dealing with them, and with no resolve. They don't know what they did. I don't know what I did. It's never no resolve. It's never none of that. And never no sit down, have a communication. It's just, and I shouldn't be like that. I'm going to say I shouldn't be like that.
Yeah.
I shouldn't be like that.
And you working on it.
Because it's so unhealthy.
You working on it.
Yeah, I'm working on it. Where you had the big old, thing that you had to get it removed. Like I said, I have anxiety attacks.
Yeah.
So it comes out. The emotions come out.
Come out. Yeah.
They
One
just
way or the other.
Yeah.
right one way or the other.
Yeah.
Yep.
Where living in anxiety, just not feeling well, it comes out. So all that unforgiveness, because you're right. You don't have to forgive them and be like, oh, we're best friends. But I will say, walking around with a whole bunch of unresolved issues and then things bubbling up at this age, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I really don't have an answer for it. I'm just talking. So,
I
know.
like to credit my dad for, at a very young age, like I can't remember a time where he did not coach us on how to navigate through disagreements, challenges, walking in forgiveness. Like he legit made that, like that was a thing in our
And
house.
demonstrated it.
He's demonstrating it like to date. But the reason why, you can make a comment like that, and I chuckle, but it's like the older I get and the more I hear it, I'm like, okay, people legit do experience me in this way. To me, it's just normal.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But the older I get, the more I hear like, yeah, that's just not, everybody don't do that. Everybody don't look to, like, I legit am always looking for the best in every situation.
Yeah. That's awesome.
I legit am always trying to, like Mocha said, I'm going to get to the bottom of it. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't want to harbor ill feelings. I recognize that dis-ease of the mind really causes disease in the body. And I would rather not, even if we discuss it down to we're going separate ways, I want to go in peace. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to go harboring ill feelings. I don't want to go slick mad. I don't want to, when your name comes up, something in my I don't want that.
Cringy.
Because to me, that's, you control how I feel, and I don't like that. You know what I'm saying? And so I really work to navigate through these things. And I think just at this point in my life, I'm really trying to navigate probably one of the largest that I have ever. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's not as quick.
Yeah.
It's not as simple.
Right.
But I am just determined. So I sat down with Mocha, and she was like just talking to me, trying to, walk me through some pieces of it. And so she told me about the comment her therapist made. Like, what if the person never asks for forgiveness, never apologizes, never changes? What do you do? And that's kind of like where I'm at. Like I'm trying, like, oh God, help me. Help me to be okay. If they never apologize, if they never even acknowledge that the things that they did were wrong. Like if I never get that acknowledgement, if they just feel like I'm good doing what I do, what am I going to do?
Right.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And that's been my work as of late.
You talked about it though. Oh, go ahead.
Well, no, go ahead. No, go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, I will say this, because people think healing is, I heal today and tomorrow I'm good.
No.
When it's a journey.
Oh,
So
my
like
goodness.
you're going through a journey, And, whereas things may have come quick, we're done. We good. We walking away. God just takes you through those rooms. Those rooms are healing. That's why I'm trying to look at what I'm going through as just like, okay, I'm in this room. I'm healed. Now I got to go to the next room.
Yeah.
And it's not like,
It's a process.
yeah, it's a process. And I think that because we live in a fast food society, we expect things and people to get it right now. Like, you're going to get it right now. And it just is nobody ever.
Nobody's built that
way.
We're not robots.
Yeah.
Right.
It didn't happen just like that.
Right.
It took time for it to
get to there.
Yeah.
to
And
get to
then
that
I think a
point.
part of it is when you are walking through it, like you mentioned, Amy, that there is a level of accountability that you have to put on yourself. Like even with like my relationship with my sister who has passed away, you know what I mean? And there was that's also a journey like we talked about with just when it is, when there's unresolved, but yet now you have to, it has to stay, I guess in here, you feel like it has to stay unresolved because you can't resolve it. You know what I'm saying? Like
With the person. Right.
When that's not true.
It's not true.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's not a real thing.
Yeah.
No,
Even though
it's a trick.
you feel like, well, it should take two. But
So what's the truth when it comes to that?
I really feel like the truth has to deal with how you got to process it. Like it was hard for me to grieve when she passed because it was so much unresolved issues. So I was going through a level of emotions of anger, freaking pissed, sad,
Right.
you know what I mean? Like just upset, like just thinking of all an array of emotion that you can deal with or think about is what I was carrying at the same time. But I think the biggest thing for me that really helped me was like, yo, I had to really rely on what do I know about her? You know what I'm saying? Like the core of her.
Yeah.
The loving aspect of her. What do I remember? And even like taking my mind back to
Before trauma.
our childhood, before we got to this place,
Right.
before our
Right.
our relationship became very tumultuous. You know what I mean? That's the part where I started. You know what I mean? Like I literally had to go back there to gather up the things like, okay, because all this other stuff, I'm like, I don't know how we got here. Still don't know how we got there. You know what I mean? But I had to like really hang on the journey that I had to take emotionally back to my, to our childhood and be like, all the times that, she took care of me, fed me, you know what I'm saying? Like protected me, like all those that's the stuff that I had to be like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's not really what that was.
Yeah.
So it's almost acknowledging the good things.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was acknowledging all the good and all the other stuff was like, you think about life, her being a parent and the stress of that and the surviving and all those different things that even we all do. We all go through, you know what I mean? And then it's like, if you're doing it alone, if you're doing it, you know what I'm saying? With help.
That impacts your experience of her.
Yeah.
When she has to do that.
I think what you just said doesn't just apply to the deceased. I think that's how you encounter people who are still here and living.
Yeah.
You focus on the good. It says in the Bible, it says, focus on the things that are good, that are pure, that are lovely, that are just. And that's how you get to that place. I'm going to be just all the way 100 with you. I don't have the capacity to hate people. You got to be super. If I don't know you, I'm not going to hate you. I don't know you to hate you.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So now at 41, it's like if I have a disagreement with somebody, my dad taught me something called the vocabulary of silence, which means when you're talking to somebody, don't be such in a rush to have to get your point across. Or don't be such in a rush to have to, I'm going to tell you, sit back and just simply listen. Don't just hear, but really listen to what they're saying. And when you do that, it's like, I'm going to listen without the ear filter of what you did to me or what you said to me, but I'm going to listen through it through the filter of the best parts of you that I remember, that I know of.
Right.
I know the essence of who you are, not because we all have parts of us that have changed or been negatively influenced by life, insults, disagreements, what have you. But when you are listening to somebody from that posture of, I'm going to believe the best, like what Constance was saying, it just changes it. So for me, it's my relationship with God that helped me get to that point. Because with me, it's either I'm hot or I'm cold. Ain't no in between like that. You feel what I'm saying? So the cold part is infectious in my home, my children, my wife, my career, me, my health. I can't afford that.
So you're saying when you are cold, it starts to seep into those pieces of you that are
Right.
healthy.
So it's like, no, let's just listen. Okay, if I need to practice the vocabulary of silence, if I need to just, oh, you're right. You know what? I didn't think about it that way. You're right. Or, love them in spite of, I had to do that with, some of my oldest children. You know what I'm saying? Just, hey, man, instead of, man, I ain't heard from such and such. I ain't such a, hey, son, just come check up on me. I love you.
How you doing?
Yeah.
Hey, man, I do
Right.
it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Ain't no excuses.
Right.
Yeah.
When before it could be, man, I ain't talked to this joker. He ain't do that. He ain't no telling man. Oh, you talk to him. I ain't even talk to him.
I remember having the conversation. I'm like, bro,
Man.
just reach out.
And I did.
Yeah.
And it worked.
But you had a million excuses then. That's growth.
Right.
Because at that point, you were like, no, I ain't doing that.
And it was validated.
Yeah.
It was justified
Absolutely.
and everything.
And I-
but
and I
at
think
what
that-
cost?
At
At
that
what
moment too,
cost?
I
At
think
what
it
cost?
was more so the hurt.
Yeah, it was
speaking.
hurt. Yeah.
It was the hurt speaking, and I think that when you encounter somebody, even if you're upset with somebody, one of the things you can do is evaluate, why did that hurt me? You know what I'm saying? That helps you
It's
to
a
break
major
it
piece.
down. Like,
That's real.
why did that hurt? Why does that bother me so much?
There's a scripture in the Bible that talks about giving people room to be human, giving people room
To make mistakes.
for grace.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? When you're hurt, you have a tendency to, I am the grace.
That's why I'm even talking to you.
I am thus saith the Lord. Because I'm the adult. I'm I'm right. I'm justified. I've got all that on my side. So it's like, I know more than you do, but you have a tendency to push that part. And it's like, just let him live. I came out all right. Let him live. Yeah, he made some mistakes. Dads make mistakes. Moms make
We all
mistakes.
make
We all make mistakes.
make
But the
mistakes.
difference is, and this is more so for people with children or adult children, give them room to make those mistakes
Gotta give it to him.
and give them room to do the trifling stuff.
Yeah.
Give them room. We've all done trifling things.
I'll say
Even
this.
Constance has done trifling things.
I
and she's an
definitely
angel.
have
She's an
done
angel.
some
Yeah, but
trifling things.
But
in my
the
life.
thing is, and that's a one. I've been saying that.
Yeah.
Look, hey man, get into some debauchery.
What?
The debauchery. Just have at it.
Debauchery.
It's debauchery.
Debauchery.
It's debauchery.
No. Debauchery.
Oh
Oh,
God.
That's
that's a good word.
that's
We love
just
the word.
straight
Yeah.
buck wildness.
Right.
Have
We're
at it.
gonna go with it.
But debauchery. Let's
Debauchery.
roll with it. That's what.
Debauchery.
Right, no, that's a totally different word.
And I think the greatest challenge, and I think that people experience, or that I witness, and that I am experiencing,
Uh-huh.
is when you are faced with. See, for our children, you can justify the reason for, okay, this is why I need to give them some grace, but it becomes a bit harder when you start dealing with adults that you feel like, let's go back to saying they're sane adults, that you feel like should know better or should move different, or you know what I'm saying? Like, I've seen you behave differently, but now you're behaving this way with me, and it becomes a little personal. That's when me having to, like, okay, how I'm gonna respond to this becomes a bit more challenging. And I would say, you know, again, as I was starting to say, is to, that's okay, babe. You wanted to get it out. It's okay. It was just to evaluate why you're upset and then break it down, because again, if you don't care about them, it doesn't matter. How they feel is just like, okay. But if it bothers me, that means I care about you. And if I care about you, then I need to think about those feelings. Okay, so I care about you. Why do I care about you? Because you're my loved one, okay? Where if you're my loved one and I care about you, that means I actually really do want to see you in a good place.
Right.
So now I'm starting to, you know what I'm saying? I'm trying to help those who are navigating, because this is what I'm dealing with right now. Just kind of navigating my feelings, because you can easily go to the sour feelings. You can easily go to the anger, to the resentment, but it's like,
and justify it.
Right.
Yeah.
But when you start breaking it down and really, as Amy said, going through the rooms, like that's how I'm navigating, so that I can come to a place of peace, because I don't want to be up at night. I don't want my sleep disrupted. I don't want your name, your presence to move me. You know what I'm saying? I really legit want to be at peace. So, you know, that's just my suggestion.
And just because you don't see that you're wrong, don't mean you ain't wrong.
That's true.
That's what I was saying to your point earlier.
You know what I'm saying?
When you were saying, you know, what did I do to you
right
to deserve this? And I'm like, well, in that person's mind, you don't know.
Yeah.
You don't know how people feel
things.
or perceive things.
Yeah.
So I find myself being in this age, I find myself being a lot more patient, a lot more forgiving, a lot more understanding in every aspect, because it feels way more free.
Yeah, it does.
And that, so when you're there in that space, meeting people where they are is effortless.
Yeah.
It's easy.
Yeah.
Me understanding your plight is easy.
Or showing them grace.
Right, but that's what grace is all about.
Yeah.
That's what that is. Because I know that every day that I wake up is because of grace. So why do I not offer that to someone else?
Yeah.
And again, extending grace doesn't mean that we have to be the best of us.
I understand that. Absolutely.
It just means that I come to a healthy resolve with you in my heart and soul, so that ill feelings, or like I don't have anything swept under the rug could possibly.
I've totally released this.
We good.
Right.
Yeah.
Like
and I'm okay with you going that way.
Right. And you know what? It's all good. I understand that you are who you are. You're gonna be who you're gonna be.
Love it.
That's definitely
I think
a journey.
I was saying what I was saying because Amy has said, all this time I'm thinking it's you. Now that you're gone, I have nobody to really go back and forth with.
Right.
What if it was me?
Yeah.
And it's like in the heat of the moment, in the heat of the argument, everybody's emotions are all over the place.
Yeah.
They're just it's like ridiculous, especially if you're from the Addams family, because it's like them arguments. It's like, oh, I'm going to raise my voice. I'm going to raise my voice. I'm going to raise my voice. No one stops. And, you know, before you know it, someone's in jail, someone's shot.
Shot.
You know, Tanya done pulled out a knife. She finna stab somebody.
Oh, man.
It's crazy. You know, but, you know, Trima done spazzed out on somebody. She about to have a heart attack trying to choke somebody out. It's like, what is wrong with our family? It's like we got horrible tempers.
This is good TV.
But you're right. But it's like,
y'all need a reality
how
show.
many people out there, you know,
May feel
are
that
going
same
through
way.
because,
Yeah.
you know, when I read the comments. I do. But
I don't.
I don't get offended by them.
I gotta stay
But
out of them.
what I do realize is that when people hear us they see the good, the bad, the ugly. But when they see the bad, when they see the ugly, their first go-to is that marriage isn't going to last, or oh, there must about to be divorce. Hey, I'll give that marriage 2 more months. I'll give that.
Why is he with her?
Why is he with her? What did
Pete, you little peaver.
But it's like the common denominator, and it looks like we're getting ready to close. The common denominator with all of us is everybody in this room has a personal relationship with God. We hold ourselves accountable to his standards, to his ethics, to his morals, to his ways. Me and Constance was talking. She was studying for something, and she had looked up the word crisis. But as she was looking it up, she went on a rabbit trail and realized that the word crisis in Japan's culture, they don't identify crisis as a problem. They identify crisis as opportunity. So when I'm thinking about that, when she brought it to my attention, I said, babe, that's good. And she preached it today. It was awesome. Oh my God. I'm like, girl, Pound Town.
Not town.
Amen.
That's not a
I just pounded her up.
Okay, go ahead.
Or never
No
mind.
rabbit trail.
Go ahead.
That's not what that means?
No, we're gonna.
Pound Town.
We don't want to get on that rabbit trail.
First,
Come
means
on back.
something else now.
Come on back, brother.
It was. But when she said, well, babe, you said, you articulated.
I don't know where you were going with it.
Well, how Japan's culture, when they see crisis, when they see trouble, when they see an issue, they view it as opportunity.
That's how it's translated.
That's how it's translated. That's how even in their definition of it. So when you think about things that they've gone through, Japan was Hiroshima?
Yeah, that's back in the
Hiroshima.
Yeah.
Was that it?
Hiroshima.
But they've always seemed to be a culture that rises from the ashes like a phoenix type deal.
Yeah.
Because in their mind is programmed, oh, this is an opportunity for us to capitalize. COVID, this is an opportunity for us to grow. War, this is an opportunity for us to grow. That's how they think. So when I think about that, then I think about kingdom. That's how we're supposed to think.
Right.
That's how we're supposed to think. When we see, I teach the lions and lions den. Why is the lion the king of the jungle? It's not because he's the tallest, not because he's the fastest, it's not because he's the strongest. It's because when he sees a 2-ton elephant standing in front of him, he doesn't see a problem. He sees dinner. He sees an opportunity to grow. And he's stupid enough to, even though the dude is 10 times his size, he's going to risk his life to eat, to get nourishment, to grow. It's all about the next meal. So when we see problems, we seem to get drawn into where that person is, or drawn into the insult, or drawn into the hurt, compared to, wait a minute, this is an opportunity for me to grow. What am I supposed to learn in this situation? Why is this situation happening to me? And I get to choose whether I'm going to let it hurt me or not. I get to choose how this affects me. I get to choose how I even respond to it. Before we even get to, oh, I'm giving you my peace. I'm not giving you my peace. Let's look at this situation. And that'll piss a narcissist off even worse, because it's like, I'm not affecting you.
Then they cut you off.
You little punk you mother. No, I'm good. I'm none of those things.
You all right?
But I love you. I love you. I wish the best for you. Bought you something. Woo. When you spend money on somebody that done you wrong, you feel what I'm saying?
Yeah, that don't do nothing for a narcissist. That don't do nothing but make them feel like they
That's
won.
what the
I won.
You bought me
You're
something.
Right. You should.
You're right, but it's like, I'm not doing this for you.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm doing it for me.
I'm doing this for me,
Yeah.
because I refuse to walk around here in bondage to how you hurt me, and you don't even realize you hurt me.
Right.
Forgiveness
How
is
stupid is that?
forgiveness is definitely for our own benefit.
It's not
It
for the
is.
other person. If
It
I'm
is.
forgiving you, I'm not forgiving you for you. I'm forgiving you for me, so that I can be sane, so that I can be a great father in the moment with my children, a great husband in the moment with my wife.
Yeah.
A great leader in the moment with the people I lead. You feel what I'm saying? So if you're out there and you're trying to figure it out as far as, okay, so what do I do, man? You just let them get away with it? That's a sign of weakness. Nah, man, that's a sign of, man, I got more things that are more valuable and more things that are it's a sign of maturity.
Yeah.
It's a sign of maturity because you've gotten to a point where you can evaluate priorities in your life.
It takes Fat Joe. I was listening to Fat Joe say something the other day. And remember he was speaking about that. He was like, back in the day, it was like he was ready to terrorize you.
Right.
But now he's like, no, I'm
Yeah.
going the other direction. Like
Right.
he realizes that he has
Growth.
too much to lose,
The cost.
too much to live for,
Cost too much.
Count
to
the
even
Yeah.
involve themselves in feeling like that.
Yeah.
Like that I think that's where I am in life right now.
Yeah.
I'm just in a place where it's like there's only solutions.
Right.
Yeah.
Let's figure it out.
Yeah.
We're not going to continue to dwell in the problem if there's a solution out there.
Facts.
And so I think that right there trips a lot of people up because a lot of people are programmed to go back and forth.
There you go. So we got to deprogram
We have to deprogram.
as a people,
Right.
not just and here's the thing. You get people to say stuff like that and it's like, I'm going to go out here and I'm going to change the world. How do you change the world? Change you.
Just change you. Just work
Start
on
with you in your house.
That's it.
Make sure you don't raise a crazy knucklehead kid by doing a whole bunch of stupid stuff and then
Absolutely.
getting it when you're older. And then you be like, oops, I might not should have done that. You know what I'm saying? Because, you know,
Right. I get it. I get it.
think about these things. So, man, you know, to those of you that are out there, man, you guys been rocking with us. B, you been quiet over there, man. You got anything you want to say?
Man, listen, I just been absorbing everything that's been said, man. I think where I am personally, where I've grown, where I've matured, is to learn to walk into the room instead of walls, keep boundaries, but lower walls.
Right.
When it comes to people, when it comes to disagreement, it's super important for you to take your power back.
Yeah.
Meaning, don't let their behavior dictate how you behave
Or who you are.
or who you are.
Yeah.
When you walk into that room, you be yourself,
Yeah.
and you don't allow their behavior to dictate where
Facts.
you go and
Yeah.
where you are.
Yeah.
So, but the thing is, you know, I come to the realization that boundaries still cause disruption
Absolutely.
because people don't understand the difference between a wall and a boundary.
Yeah.
People think because they can't cross a certain threshold with you
Yeah.
that you're holding something against them. And no, I'm just protecting where I am.
Yeah.
But the thing is, when you have a boundary in place, when that person comes up against that boundary, mad day will come.
Yeah.
And I'm in a place now where I
Yeah.
understand that mad day will come
Yeah.
because I accept people for who they are.
Right.
And it's okay. But if it's not mad day, we cool.
Right.
But when it come, okay,
Yeah.
it's all good. Still
Yeah.
love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good. Well, guys, this has been another episode of Family by Choice, the
Yeah.
podcast. Follow us on all social media platforms, anywhere there's podcasts, any platform that is podcast. We're there, Family by Choice. We love you guys. We got family games coming on the way.
yes.
Family by Choice, the board game is on its way. We coming. The girls are working on it. You know what I'm saying? Just putting that out there. You feel me? Peace.
Peace.